Yep.
Welcome back to On Right Podcast. You have Elijah here alongside Grant. We're going to kick off with Michigan basketball. March started yesterday. March Madness is upon us. We're going to be kicking off or finishing up the Big Ten season here, and then heading into Big Ten tournament, then the Big Dance. So just kind of want to recap. State of Michigan basketball up until right now. Head of the snake is down with Juwan Howard not being at the realm, but we seem to have maybe found our groove in general. So just kind of kick it off to you. What you think, heading into March here.
Yeah, no, I commend Martelli and the team for weathering the storm. Without Juwan being there, because I feel like that could have went a couple of different ways. With him getting suspended, they could have either just, got blown out a couple times, packed it in for the season, and kind of just went out the way we didn't want him to go out. But I think we always kind of talked about we had talked about the last couple weeks how we felt the magic number, like for those, those games that they needed to win, kind of finish the season, was like to get like 18 wins. And then when Juwan got suspended, we're like, all right, they need to win like 3 out of 5, like to end the season, to like really kind of lock things in. Love how they played yesterday. Dickinson, I wish we could kind of like get that from him, like, a lot more often. He's a consistent player, but that was like on some like, just take over type.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like I wish we, kind of would be able to see him just do that a little bit more. And then, took care of State, lost a tough one to Illinois. They got like a super senior that came out and made like 4 or 5 threes in the first half. Like I was kind of like, this might not end well for us. And was able to beat Iowa on the road, so they're definitely handling business over this last little stretch. They got Iowa at home tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. They go to Ohio on Sunday.
Yep.
So, I feel like, obviously they want to win both of those games, but I think if they're able to split them, it was a success just for him filling in for, Juwan Howard. And love how, I think I had told you last week he was St. Joseph's coach for like good like 15, 20 years. So now he's just kind of sitting, on the bench and just kind of like helping out Michigan program, obviously. And he was able to slide in there. Like him a lot. Real selfless dude. I mean, every time I've interviewed him, he's like taking the spotlight off of him. Made it very clear that it's Juwan's team, not like his team. He's just standing in for him. They left Juwan's seat open, all those games. I just thought they handled that situation very well and weathered the storm.
I commend him and the team. Obviously having a guy that's coached high D level, high D1 basketball for 20 years on your bench is an amazing asset. And so I definitely think that was smart. And Juwan I've recently heard that he wanted somebody of that ilk to be on his coaching staff. Just seeing how he was, kind of green to the coaching game, especially I think he might have coached the Miami Heat G League team, a few times or for a season or so. But being in running the top of the show, so I know he wanted to seek somebody like that out. On top of that, I think the team is just odd. I would have never guessed that we would be in this situation if we would have did a Michigan basketball podcast on December 2nd. I would have said, we would be, one of the best teams in the country, handful of losses on the season.
At least ranked.
Yep. And so I do think it's tough, but I think we're playing our best basketball of the season now. Which is what you really ultimately want. You don't want to be the team that fizzes out. You were hot all the way until February, and then you spun out. So I do think us finding that stride, Dickinson getting a game like this under his belt, Houston having a great stretch of games over the last 5 games or so. He had a couple of 20-point games. He had a quiet 16 last night versus MSU. I was shocked to look up and see that he had 16. I was like, where did these points even come from? Obviously Dickinson was getting a shine. But it was just really when you could be a sneaky assassin, that's great. That's just added confidence to a kid that was a top recruit that might need it. Might need it in a time like this where his season probably hasn't gone how he expected for the team or for himself personally. But that could all turn around with a tournament run. You get a tournament round under your belt, hey, you're right back top 10 pick.
Yeah.
So I think, at a drop of a dime that can happen.
Yeah.
So I just like really where the team is. I think we need to, keep opening it up. Obviously, Dickinson, if he's playing like that, feed him as much as you can. But I think opening it up is when we're playing our best. We're letting what we do have, those athletes, not stand up necessarily to be stand around shooters, but just run and gun, play to our advantage. That means we have a lot of great athletes and a big man in the post. So I think we need to play to that, lean to that a little more, and that's our bread and butter. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, man. I think even like kind of go back to you said about not expecting to be here at this point. One thing that I didn't even realize, or like not expecting to be in this situation back in December, I didn't realize we had the sixth toughest schedule in the country. So like I think it was kind of I was just like probably being pretty critical of the team, and just like couldn't understand like why they weren't playing so well. And then I kind of saw that. I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. I mean, they played like the number 2 team in the country, like a month to the season. Arizona,
Yep.
there was definitely at that non-conference schedule. They had to go like to North Carolina. Yeah, the Seton Hall one. Yeah, that was a
tough one. But I'm not sure where they are now. But they knocked off a bunch of teams that same stretch.
Right.
Yeah, so they were hot. I have no idea, to be honest, where they are now currently, but they were definitely hot in December when we lost to them. So,
right. Yeah. And it's like you said, when you kind of like look at it, it's kind of like peel back the onion. It's like there's like 3 games that kind of or 2 games I'll say that kind of just stick out to me. It was really just when they lost like Minnesota as bad as they did, especially like because how bad Minnesota is now, and then when they lost to even like that Rutgers loss. I mean, I know they had some guys out because of COVID and whatnot, but it's just and Rutgers is a little bit of a different team this year too. Like they beat State, they beat Ohio, they beat a couple other teams in the Big Ten, but yeah, like I'm just glad they responded the way that they did. I hope that we can finish out the regular season strong. They can win one of the next 2. I think that'll just do. I think they're out of like that first 4 like bracket. I think if they can, win one of the next 2, ideally win both, and then make it to like the semis, in the Big Ten tournament. Hopefully they can sneak in and be like an 8-9 seed. And then this game on from there. Wherever they draw, they gotta, it's gonna be one of them things where I think they could have potential to at least make it to the second weekend and maybe even sneak into the Sweet 16 potentially. I think they got the team to do it.
I agree. I mean, obviously we can't spin out. But like you said, if we split this and then win a game, even probably in the Big Ten, I can't see them keeping us out. I didn't even know we had the 6th hardest strength of schedule. But I know that we have a great Purdue win. You brought up the Iowa on the road. Indiana beat State.
Yeah.
Beat San Diego State. They're in the tournament. So I just think we have a handful of good. We've proven that we can beat some of the best teams. And I think if you look at the season in segments, which I do think they tend to do, that hey, you can in the second half of the season, we've played much better than we did the first half.
Yeah.
And so you have to look who's showing up to the tournament, and it's a team that's fairly hot. So yeah, no, I agree, and probably going to have Jawan fired up, and probably hopefully sitting back and cooking up all type of plays and watching the team from a different perspective. Not even being able to be on, in the atmosphere, but being able to take a step back and maybe analyze from a different point of view and maybe, hit the ground running with a new perspective. And, I would not be shocked if we make a pretty good tournament, good tournament run. We have the firepower. We have Dickinson.
I know one thing for sure is like, obviously it depends on who they draw, and if they do, they are kind of like in that territory where they could draw like a 1 seed, like second round. That that wouldn't be all that ideal. But like I said, anything can happen. I do just kind of see them potentially being one of them teams. Dickinson, like not everybody has a Hunter Dickinson. You know what I'm saying? Like they play good defense. They got they got some decent depth. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they could definitely catch a team, on a bad day. Potentially make a little bit of a run. And then obviously, playing a grueling Big Ten schedule.
Yeah. That's what I was just going to say. Steel sharpens steel. So, us coming out of this with a few cuts, battle wounds, the whole Big Ten is going to be that much tougher.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
and I wouldn't want to face a handful of Big Ten teams.
Yeah.
Like you said, not everybody has a Hunter Dickinson. We'll be at a matchup, hopefully good versus some of those teams, and just play Big Ten ball and and brutalize some teams. That's what I'm hoping for.
Because obviously, like, we Michigan fans, but it's always nice seeing the Big Ten as a whole just kind of step in the tournament and do their thing, and just kind of do what they do. And hopefully this year is a little bit better, because last year I'm pretty sure they had a couple. I know Illinois was like damn near the overall 1 seed. They lost first weekend. Ohio State lost to we good about that either way, but they got knocked out first weekend. State ended up, they didn't make it out of the first 4. I think we was really the only ones to make it as far as we did. So I think just as a whole, from like a Big Ten fan, we're a fan of the Big Ten except for Ohio. It's always kind of good to just see, them be able to just kind of go in there and do their thing in the tourney.
No, I agree. And just one last thing I have to say about this is I'm still hurt that we lost Livers last year, man. We had Livers. We probably got a banner up right now.
But, I agree. I mean, that was literally the piece. That was the person that couldn't stop Johnny Juzang. Yep. Or that would have stopped Johnny Juzang. That was good. End up just getting after us on that Elite Eight. But no, I agree.
He could have stopped him, and we just needed one last basket. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
It still came out. That shit was so hurtful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Wagner plays out of his mind once he gets to the NBA. Anyway.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, just before we get too salty about it, keep on moving. But yeah, no, definitely wanted to kind of switch gears here to the pros. Somebody that's been just kind of not even kind of really just been getting to it this year. And I mean, you've always seen it coming. This is some guy that you've been high on since he was in college, Ja Morant. I mean, I was just laughing because I think it was Monday night. I saw him make that cross court, like 3-pointer or 2-pointer to end the half. And I'm just like, oh, that's crazy. And then I started scrolling through Twitter. It might have been vice versa. I think I saw the dunk first. I'm like, oh, that's wild. And then I saw the shot, and I'm like, okay, the dunk wasn't even the best play of like the night for him. Yeah. And like that shot was like, what I'm saying? They're both just like neck and neck as far as like a couple of the best plays he had that night. But yeah, I mean, just give you opportunity. Ja Morant, he had him in the 3 seed. Potential MVP candidate. Probably won't get it because Embiid probably already got it locked down. But how have you liked what you've seen from him thus far?
Yeah, no, I guess I just give a quick 30-second background story. I went to Murray State. I watched him play randomly before the tournament, like a month or two before the tournament. He just went off, and he just had he had the bunnies. I was like, who is this kid? Yeah. Then I seeked him out when the tournament came around, and then he had like 15 and 15 in a tournament win, and I was like, okay,
double.
Yeah. So it was it was just amazing. And then from there, obviously, he catapulted into superstardom. I just think every year he's taking leaps and bounds of improvement. Right. I'm kind of spitballing here earlier because I read it, but I think he averaged like 17 and 7 his first year. Then it was like 19 and 9. Now he's averaging like 26 and 9. And it's like that is just incredible for a guy that's probably not even 25 years old yet, 24 years old. Mm-hmm. I think I think if he shoots the way he's shooting, I really don't know how you can stop that. I think he's shooting like 35% from 3. Obviously, he's one of the most athletic guys in the league. So I really don't know how you can stop that with a full head of steam. And just to say this, another thing nobody's talking about, I'm pretty sure he dislocated his hip and it popped back in place last week. And he dropped 50. I'm shocked he's playing right now. I don't know if you've seen that play or not, but
I heard that he been getting a little nicked up here and there this year, and I'm kind of worried. I'm like, hopefully he can, just keep it together and lead him to a deep look. I think they could definitely make a playoff run.
It's just reckless abandonment. He's right. He's like that D. He's from that D Wade cloth. He's from that D Rose cloth. He's from AI cloth. Where they can figure out how to get up to the rim. They just ain't thought about the way back down. They're just gonna crash into the ground as hard as they possibly can.
Hang on the rim after we dunk on somebody.
So I just think, I really do think he's, a phenomenal player. I can't. He's one of the players that whenever they're on TV, I'll stop and throw it on. Without a
Yeah.
doubt. And I do that for not everybody, but he's one of the probably 5 to 7 players in the league that if I know they're watching or playing that night, I'm gonna throw him on. I think he's that. He's a must-watch player. He definitely can make that run.
You got to get that DeAnthony Melton jersey. You got to make that happen. That's I think that's something you got to do.
That blue, the baby blue.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is crazy because my man's only got discovered because a scout went out to buy a bag of Doritos and just happened to take a peek into the gym that he was, playing in at the time when he was getting recruited. Murray State. I think that was only his only offer out of high school.
That's crazy.
So you think back to like that, like how he was discovered to where he's at now. I mean, I'm just glad that they took off that. It was supposed to be the Nets and the Celtics playing on Thursday on TNT, but the Nets and the Heat. But now it's going to be Memphis and Boston playing tomorrow night on TNT. And it's just,
That's one thing. Side note, that's one thing I love that the NBA does. NFL will keep the 2 shittiest teams on because they put them on a Thursday night or, whatever.
They're even worse. They'll schedule the 2 shittiest teams and be like, you should let it ride. It's like, don't put the Giants in the Jets in prime time. Like, don't do that.
Yeah. Or if you messed up and you thought it was going to be a good game. All right. Well, we approaching it and it's not. Let's swap this out and give the people something. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. And I'm to the point. I'm like, they might as well take off all the Lakers games and just throw the Memphis in there. You know what I'm saying? Just like some of these other teams that are playing really well because you see them.
It's unbelievable how much the Lakers are on TV.
Oh yeah,
they get 3 games. They play every game they have is probably a national game.
They get at least 2 a week. They had 41 of their games was on national television this year.
That's great.
Yeah. So I mean, we get it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it makes sense. The second biggest market, LeBron James. Right. I get it, but it's like it is crazy.
I hope that they can change it up and be like, all right, let's get Memphis on here. I love how Phoenix is on. A little bit more. Mm-hmm. A lot more teams. I mean, even just watching I know some of these teams are bad, but I wouldn't mind seeing Charlotte, on prime time a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these teams that got all these high flyer young guns, Timberwolves. Wouldn't mind watching them. In prime time.
I may have seen Anthony Edwards play twice, maybe. I'm not even lying. Like I played like a whole game. I almost never have seen them play.
Yeah. There's no other way to watch it unless you got League Pass.
Or you catch it when they play the Lakers or Nets or something. They can.
Right. Yeah, but no, I mean, I'm with you though. I like John Morant. I mean, I definitely first person come to mind. He's like a combination like Derrick Rose. Like you said, D Wade got a little D Wade in there.
He's right about that.
Yeah, AI. Like he's like I said, he's got kind of like a little bit of his game. Like kind of come from all 3 of those guys, and it was kind of cool.
AI, he's a faster D Wade. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of like it's a weird combo. I definitely agree with you. I see MVP in his future. I think it
was cool seeing AI post that pic. Did you see that when he had Morant's jersey on the trophy?
That was a dope picture too. To be honest,
that was like kind of like one of them like passing the torch type moments. You know what I'm saying? Just like endorsing. Mm-hmm. Like the new generation. So I think anytime a player, like NBA player, sees like a legend NBA player doing something like that, it's like, yeah, like it's.
I mean, and it's rightfully so because he does got it. He's outside of him, like you could be a good player and not have that dog in you, but he got that. Right. Like he really do got that it factor. Even just that. You can tell you got an it factor when you can catch a 70-foot bomb and not even like he didn't even land on the ground and hit it and shot. Like I've only seen Derek Fisher shoot with .4 left,
Right.
Yeah, obviously that's the finals, but I mean you almost have that faster release while moving, while catching the ball on the run, and that really is an incredible play that he's punishing himself because he's having too many good plays in the same game. If you only one of those plays, they would be all over. But both of them, you're kind of watering yourself now. It's kind of like having 2 hits at one time.
Right.
You're gonna both people can't talk about both. So
But now it's like And it's just getting so like often, it's happening so often where it's like, you see some of this stuff, it's just like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Like, all right, that's just John Morant, Monday night, just kind of do what he does. Like,
I think it was Valanciunas his rookie year. Do you remember what he almost did to him?
yeah, I mean, him or Aaron Baines, like it was a couple guys. He almost like Kevin Love. He got real close to.
That's what I'm thinking of. It's Kevin Love. Yeah, so yeah.
Got very close to having a couple people on some posters.
Some real posters. Yeah, no, I agree. I just think he's an interesting player. I think when approaching the playoffs, I wouldn't want to cross their path. And it's interesting when you think, just to kind of loop it all in. It's interesting when you see where the Lakers are in their situation. And I mean, historically, even if LeBron has a bad team or in a bad time, he might look forward to matching up with a young guy like that. His first time in the playoffs and is kind of blindsided in the whole situation. So I wonder if that's something they have cooking up, or if that's something they're thinking about. Because obviously, if I would imagine you would prefer that matchup versus Golden State, or you'd prefer that matchup versus Phoenix.
Yeah.
Some guys that have never been there before. So I think it's kind of interesting. And from their point of view, John Morant would probably love that. You don't want to go against LeBron, but I mean, there's a time to make a name for yourself. There's a time to
they will 4-0 this Lakers team. They would probably. They could. I think because I don't know, like LeBron 37. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like, I'm not doubting LeBron, but it's just.
I would say I'm not. You're probably right, but I'm saying if historically speaking, that's like when LeBron matched up when he was like a lower seed versus Toronto.
It's kind of
where it's like, all right, it don't matter that we're whatever they were, the 6th seed, or whatever, it didn't matter. We're just gonna come in here and flex.
Yeah, we'll see. Because I mean, they played Utah as the 8th seed last year and won like 2 games, I think. If an off chance that AD is like available,
They're gonna get 1 game.
If the off chance that AD is somehow available, like when that time comes, and okay, they might 4-2, maybe 7. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. LeBron playing well. This is kind of, the pieces that I don't think they're going to be trying to like run around chasing, Memphis. Like these guys all like under 25, fresh legs, pissed off at everybody because they're in Memphis. So, like nobody like really cares about them. You know what I mean? Like it's just like if it was LeBron, like 2016 LeBron with this team, I'm like, all right, like that, they probably going to be a nice little early exit. Memphis got like a little juggernaut forming.
Yeah, they got a little team. Some sleepy good players. Jaren Jackson, like you said, Bane. Yeah, they got some.
Yeah, they got Desmond Bane. I mean, either guy Dylan Brooks. I mean, they all just like got like just crazy chips on their shoulder too, to where they just kind of ready to, get after anybody that get in their way. Like I said, I think this is the year where they can really, if they can catch a team like I said, the Lakers first round, mess around and catch, like maybe like now it might have to see somebody like the Phoenix second round, but I mean you kind of getting in environments where it's you never know what can happen. So we'll see though.
No, for sure. And I think I probably have a little more faith. I know like we joked that you're the Lakers and the Net and I'm the Nets or whatever. I probably have a little more faith in the Nets than you do. I obviously that all is contingent on Kevin Durant, coming back near full strength and making it. But I just think the East is very unique. I feel like the East is from 1st seed through the 6th seed. I think there's only like 3 or 4 games separation. Mm-hmm. So I think whenever you have that, it's just so much. You can get hot and move from the 7th seed to the 1st seed. Or you can get cold and drop out and fall from the face of the earth. So I think a lot of that is contingent on just Kevin Durant coming back. I think if he comes back, I think if Kevin Durant comes back, we're having a completely different conversation. And I think they recently lifted up the ban, whatever, so they can have the
Kyrie back.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just think I'm a little disappointed. I just kind of think we're being robbed of some potential championships that we should have. You know, I think we need that AD or that LeBron, Kevin Durant, rematch. From I think we needed that. I don't know. I just kind of think we're being potentially robbed from just some great experience. Not that other people can't step up to the mantle, but I think just a couple NBA chapters that maybe we should have in the book aren't going to be there due to whatever reason.
Injuries, man. Like we watched AD go down first round. It was up 2-1, lost 3 straight. Then or the Lakers did last year. Kyrie, they was up 2-0. Kyrie rolled his ankle. They ended up losing in 7. KD did everything he could. He just wore too big of a shoe. Like that matchup was probably the most like overly anticipated thing that anticipated matchup probably of all time. Like everybody swore it was going to be Nets Lakers, but then shit just happens. Like obviously Giannis had different plans. Suns had different plans. I think, and even for me, I feel like the Nets only thing that kind of concerns me about them is they already, as of right now, as of tomorrow, they'd have to play in a play-in game in order to even secure the 8th or the 7th seed, to have to potentially see Chicago, Miami, and Ben Simmons. They're saying he's a month out from even being ready. KD, you already know and this is the thing the thing I have with Steve Nash and just I have kind of a beef with him, just kind of how he runs things. And then it's they just can't stay healthy. It's, what I'm saying? KD going to come, probably play 25 minutes, work him in slow.
Yeah.
And, drop a couple more games just because, they trying to make sure he's good, which I get. But there be so many times where, Steve Nash don't even be trying to, these dudes get down 10 at halftime, he start pulling starters. They just kind of give up on, what I'm saying? Even trying to, push to even, make a game close or maybe come back and win one. So I just feel how he be kind of running the show and that injury bug just always seems to linger.
No, I don't, trust me. I have zero faith that they could actually make it. I think even with the healthy Kevin Durant, they would need miracles.
Yeah.
But I do think maybe they get healthy, they can make a little noise. I think they can push some people in the series. They could.
Second round.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, if they got here, got to the conference finals, I wouldn't be shocked. It's just that. That's just one of the things I was always saying about them last year is they just kind of dilly-dally, didn't get that 1 seed, and then now you got to see Giannis in the second round. You know what I'm saying? Where it's that seeding does start to matter. Even it matters to a certain extent. It kind of depends on who you are too. For LeBron, a couple of times it didn't matter, but let's be real. They kind of want that home court when it comes down to it.
Yeah, no, I don't think, and nobody in the East is on LeBron status yet, where they could
take over a series
prime, and where they could just maybe anybody, maybe Giannis, but obviously, I don't even know if he could take over a series to that magnitude if they were behind the 8 ball. I think, and that's another player. We haven't even mentioned him yet in this whole situation, just due to how they're not on TV all that often, or they're stuck in Milwaukee ball market. I think. I'm sitting there looking at it right now. They're fourth in the East, tied. They're actually tied for 3rd in the East, technically. So I think, they're right in the mix, and nobody's talking about them.
They might mess around and draw. It might be them in Brooklyn first round.
Yeah, wouldn't that be insane?
That's gonna be a tall task. You know what I'm saying? They beat them. Ironically, they beat them Thursday or last Saturday with just Kyrie in Milwaukee. But that. You're right. They kind of Milwaukee. That's somebody. Yeah. I feel like they might end up repeating. Obviously, time will tell, and a lot can happen between now and then. But it's gonna be real interesting.
Who do you trust the most out of the East? And then we'll go with the West afterwards. Who do you?
Okay. I'd probably say Milwaukee and Miami. I'd probably say those are the 2 teams where I'd be I could definitely. They're gonna be there, ready to rock. When that time comes.
Yeah. I hate to even piggyback on that, but I agree. I'm sitting there looking. I don't know if I trust the Bulls when push comes to shove. Yeah. I think you brought up. I hate to knock on wood, but injury bug comes to mind with the Sixers. Cavaliers, I just don't trust. Yeah. Celtics, yeah. And Raptors, hell no. and the Nets. So I agree. I probably those two. Um, Miami is similar. Just no. I mean, obviously they have a great player at the top of the realm, but just lots of good players. Just like very deep. And great coach. I was always hard on Eric Spoelstra. Historically, I thought he was handing those Miami Heat teams to anybody could probably coach.
Yeah.
But when you've been there for 15 years afterwards, obviously, you got something going.
Right.
So
Yeah.
no, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I would say the West. I'll probably say. I mean, Memphis. They're the healthiest team right now. Like Golden State missing Draymond.
Mm-hmm.
He got like some disc back issues where that's
Yeah.
He 32, 33. You don't know, you never know what kind of how that starts to kind of creep up on you. I mean, Chris Paul gonna be out. Like he probably gonna miss out the first round of the playoffs, from what they were saying.
Yep.
It's a possibility. I think I'd probably say if I had to pick, between Golden State, Memphis, and Phoenix, I'd probably take Memphis and Phoenix. I feel like those would be the ones because the West, in my opinion, is like pretty. It was pretty down. Like I don't ever trust Utah. You know what about the Utah Jazz? I hate the Utah Jazz. Like the Utah Jazz will lose in the second round for like the fifth year in a row, and nobody's gonna care. They're not gonna tell how they should break up the team, trade for a star because nobody's gonna go there. Like all they do is just have great regular season, just get bounced like in the second round. So I definitely don't trust them. Mavericks don't got enough. Luka, like they just don't have enough to try to really do anything to anybody. And I mean, from there, it's pretty much a crapshoot. Like I think everybody from like 6 seed and down has a losing record in the West right now.
Basically, yeah. No, so I guess I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. I know Chris Paul is out, but I think I would have to still keep the Suns in that list. I think Booker, Aiden, Bridges, they got a lot of stuff happening there. And I look in here and they got a 6-game cushion from them, and they're at 49 wins already. Yeah. So I think with that little bit of a cushion, they could take a hit, and probably still stay at the top. They'd have to really do bad probably to lose that number one. So I don't know. I probably will roll with them. I'm hoping Chris Paul comes back sooner rather than later. That's part of my contingent on that. But I think Booker could probably hold it on the fort, in the meantime.
And now that's kind of even back to like LeBron and them. That's one of the things where, he come be healthy and they mess around and see, Chris Paul is, Suns team. I know they got kind of did pretty bad last year, but it's one of these kind of like you really never know. So you just kind of hope that they are healthy to.
You agree? And what will actually happen is that will happen. No Chris Paul yet. He'll be like, oh, Chris Paul come back like game 4. Yeah. And then like game 2, Aiden will go down. and then it's blood in the water with sharks around. Then it's like, so I agree. Yeah. I guess just to run down, I like the Warriors a lot. I think Klay Thompson, similar to what you said with Kevin Durant. I keep confusing AD and AD in my head. But anyway, with Kevin Durant, similar with him, and just they probably would drop a few games getting him back in. I think we witnessed that recently with Klay Thompson. They're trying to get him back in there. They're trying to get him some confidence back. So I think he's probably cost them a few games that they wouldn't have lost if they were just rolling with the machine that they had going beforehand, and that will help them. You obviously want him to be as comfortable as possible in rolling into the playoffs, and I think that will only help them come playoff time when they have him full confidence, damn near full strength. Obviously, Steph, he's going to heat back up. He's cooled off for a while, and he's going to come and flow. It's going to be like a roller coaster with his shooting, and for the NBA, let's just hope that he's not back, on peak on fire as soon as playoff time comes around. So I probably keep them with my second two, even though that's a cheap answer with 2 teams in the West. I really do like Luka. I could easily see. I can't tell you why he's good. I really don't. But I like his game a lot. He's on that list of players I will always throw on when they're on TV. I could see that they're starting to shape it around him. They got rid of Porzingis. You know, they're starting to just shape it completely around him. Hey, this is your team.
Yep.
We're going to literally choreograph everything you want around you to make your game maximize. And then, you know, you look at his stats, and I think it's his first 3 years and LeBron's first 3 years are almost identical. 4 years, whatever it was. Not that he's on that level, but I think he could be. And I wouldn't want to bump into him either. And in the rest of the West, I wouldn't. I don't trust.
Yeah. And I think, and even just, you know, kind of with Golden State, we're kind of piggybacking on them again. Draymond.
Yeah.
He's,
like you said,
available.
Yeah.
People don't like Draymond. I love Draymond. I know me and you understand how important he is to that team, especially when they're trying to make a playoff run. But yeah, I like just kind of where things are kind of like looking, and playoffs around the corner. You know, you got going to be some good matchups. I think if like the playoffs start tomorrow, it's going to be Memphis and Dallas first round. Like, so, you know, it's kind of just cool to kind of look at those potential matchups. We can kind of potentially look forward to. I'd love to see a Nets and Philly, Nets and Sixers matchup. Is not. I mean, that's kind of
a hated rivalry.
How the chips lay. You know, that could be something we could, you know, be blessed with. So all in all, I mean, I'm looking forward to. I think every team has like 20 games or so left. So it's
And I'm not even gonna lie. I guess I've been sleeping on Mars or something. I didn't even realize the Hawks were this damn ass this year. I mean, not the greatest word, but they're 29-32. I didn't even realize they was even that far, you know, sitting at 10th.
Yeah, their Knicks are bad. I mean, I remember I called you out about not saying the Knicks, and now they like 26-37 or something like that. Julius Randle fighting coaches and shit. Just you know.
Hey, but I picked the Pacers, and they blew it up. So
you shipped everybody out like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy how that stuff kind of unfolds like that. But
for sure,
like you said, yeah, good basketball coming up though, for sure.
Lots of good. Yeah, I mean, this is football winding down.
Yep.
Obviously, we got the combine and all that stuff, draft coming up, but football winding down, basketball, you know, full bloom. You know, I'll probably consume 1,000 hours of basketball from now until you know NBA Finals is over. No,
100%.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Got anything else for the people?
Oh, that's it, man. That's it. That's all I got.
Appreciate y'all.
Yep.